Good morning, everybody. Wisconsin Dairy Life here. Who's ready to go see our barn? Come on. Welcome to our barn. This is the second spot that the calves go after they're weaned. So about 10 weeks, then they come up here, and this is the first group pen that they get to come in. Hi, girls. Ooh, someone's excited. Wanna come say hi? So this is a very old barn. It's over 100 years old. It used to have stanchions in it, but we milk in a parlor, and we'll get to that. But we milk in a parlor, so we took all the stanchions out and made this into our second location after the nursery that the calves go before they go down to the heifer building. And so they stay in here until about 4 months old, and then they get vaccinated. So same as children, we give them vaccinations to help them prevent them from getting infections. And the vet comes right to our farm during herd health, and we will lock them up in this next pen. These are headlocks, and so when I have them set, I'll unlock one here for you. So it's open like that, and we'll give them food. They'll put their head through and it'll lock. So their head's through here and they can't pull out. So then we do that just so we can vaccinate them, because, you know, just like children, when they get any shots or any doctors near to them, they don't like it sometimes. So we try and make it easier on them. And we'll go over a day with our vet vaccinating and explain all that as well down the road. And what we do to prevent their pain. We give them pain medicine beforehand. And we'll go over all that later. So when there's only a couple calves, we'll just keep them in the first pen. Buddy, what's the matter? The Australian Shepherd wants to hurt him. Buddy, it's okay. It's okay, bud. So free access to food and water, and they can run around as they please. Same as the nursery, there's a bigger tube in the back, if you can see it. I can try and... Oh, can't zoom in, sorry. There's a tube with holes in the back all the way along the back of the barn. Same thing, it pushes fresh air in here in the winter time. In the summertime, we also have these fans above here in each of the pens, and that blows fresh air on them too. So I remember when me and my husband took out the stanchions, and we had to take out all the cement that was in here and relay it so that the cement was sloping down just enough so if there's, you know, water or anything comes in here, that it'll go out the door at the end. So I remember a couple years ago that him and me were up till I think 3 in the morning out here with sand, trying to level it all out to get the slope right before the cement trucks came in the morning. So that was a bonding experience. But getting the project done and getting cattle in here is pretty nice, and it's works nice for our little farm here. So if you've noticed so far, all of our girls have green tags in them, and they all have different numbers. Each calf has a different number, so we can tell who they are. We can tell, and we keep records of who each one is, when they were born, who their mom and dad were, their grandparents, great-grandparents if we have that. And I'll show you that in the office of all our records. And if they've gotten sick, like if they got pneumonia, or when they get older, we track how many times we've bred them, how many babies they've had, what baby they had, and so that we can watch the genetics, make sure we're not inbreeding anybody when they're old enough. Some farmers keep the bulls, which are the boy calves. The heifers are the girl calves. We just don't have room for them on our farm here, and so we sell them to some neighboring farms who raise them up. So that's the first pen. When we have enough of them, we'll put some in the second pen here as well. But once they're vaccinated, then we take them down to the heifer building next. So this big pen here, we've opened it up for these girls down here. This is the calving pen. So this pen, we move our cows in here, or pregnant heifers, when they're about 2 weeks from calving or having their baby. So that way they can, we change their food back to like what the milking cows get, and I'll go over that at a later time of this mixture and what it all is. But we give that to them so they're getting used to it. It's higher protein, so that it gives them more energy to get ready for calving and continue to grow their calf. So they come in here so we can watch them more closely. And like we have back here, we had a new boy this morning. So usually we'll keep the calves in with their mother for the first about 24 hours. We do separate the calves after that. Hi, Mama. For many reasons. The first one is that cattle like to stay in the same size. They're a herd animal, and so they like to be around similar sizes. Sometimes their own mom or another mom will actually lay on the calf and squash them. And so we don't want that. So we take them to the nursery. Also, we want to make sure that the calf is drinking. So in the nursery, we can watch and make sure that they're getting the nutrients that they need to grow. The last thing is for the mom. If the calf only drinks off one of the teats, and the cow has 4 teats, that one teat or that part of the udder usually will produce more milk, and the other ones kind of dry off. So just like humans, you know, if you don't stimulate or milk, then you dry up. And so with a mom that just had a baby, that's after the first couple weeks, they're producing the most milk that they probably will for most of the lactation, or at least in the beginning. They'll do higher production in the beginning, and as their lactation goes on, then they'll drop down in milk eventually. But if you don't stimulate them right away, it's kind of like when you had a new baby. I remember as soon as, you know, we had my girls, the staff at the hospital put our babies right on my chest, and after that snuggle time, then it was nurse time for an hour. And that helps stimulate the production. And so same thing with cattle. If we can get them into our parlor and get them milked, and milk all 4 udders the same time, or all 4 teats of the udder, then it'll help stimulate them all together, and there won't be one part of the udder that's less productive than the other. Hi. So that is that. These girls are a little muddier because they've been down in the heifer open lot, and because of all this rain and mud, they don't really care if they lay outside, in the grass where it's all muddy, or the cement lot where it's muddy, they don't really mind. And so then of course they get muddy and you can't really give them a bath, and it takes a long time for that mud to come off because they have to either lick it off or lay on new bedding like we have here. It's all fresh and dry. Takes a little bit, but it comes off and they'll get clean again, or they'll rub it off with the brush. We have a cow brush that they can rub up against, so I'll show you that when we get to the freestyle barn. So that's our barn. We do have headlocks for the cows. These are much bigger because obviously the cow's head's much bigger. Same thing, but they'll lock up here if the vet comes and we need to check them for something that's going on. We can lock them there so they stay put so we can check them out. Otherwise it's just it's left unlocked, so these can't lock. So she can go in and out as she please, and it doesn't lock her up. Only when we want them locked up. And food and water. We don't usually put more than 4 in here at a time just because they need their space, especially when they start calving. And I'm sure we'll get one in the calving action, and then we can explain all about the miracle birth for cattle. So that's that. These guys are still eating. All right. That is our barn. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another episode when we'll go to the heifer building, which will be the next stop on our farm that our cattle go. Thanks. Bye.